Kythian was sprinting. Beneath his feet, the cracked, barren earth flew past. His chest heaved and his legs burned, but his legs continued pumping. If Kythian had his way, his legs would carry him to the low hill ahead, where a wind-blown, crumbling formation of rocks stood, and there he would not be alone. Heavy footfalls, one for every half-dozen of his, shook the ground behind him, kicking up clouds of dust. Killing a Titan was no easy task, but Kythian had clearly made an impression on Erebos' servant. Kythian glanced at the sticky, black blood that clung to the tip of his sun-touched spear, and risked a look over his shoulder. His vision was filled by the Titan's frame. The Titan was clad in scale armor fashioned from scores of golden masks from those who escaped the underworld. At that moment, the vacant eyes of each mask seemed to be staring right at Kythian. A shadow streaked overhead. Kythian saw the head of the Titan's massive flail falling like a meteor towards him. He rolled away as it slammed into the ground beside him. When Kythian reached the rocks, he kept running. As he passed through two crumbling pillars, the Titan's flail pulverized one to his left. It exploded in a hail of stone shards. Kythian tumbled to the ground. The back of his head felt warm. When he touched it, his hand came away smeared with blood. Careless, Kythian thought. Should have seen that coming. The clank of chain told Kythian that the Titan was gathering its flail for another swing. He had to keep moving. The Titan let out a low, rumbling roar. The stench of mold and rot billowed from its mouth. Winded, Kythian gulped the foul air, and though it seemed to cling to the inside of his mouth, it was enough for him to scramble away from the Titan's attempt to stomp the would-be champion of Heliod to a pulp. The Titan lashed out with a backhand. Kythian anticipated it. He caught the blow, unscathed and unmoved, his protective magic absorbing the impact. He grabbed hold of one of the Titan's colossal fingers, planted his feet, and refused to let go. He just needed a moment. Now! A heartbeat later, Dracis came charging from around another rock pillar. Irregulars! Bring it down! 3 irregulars emerged from hiding to join Dracis. They had ropes that ended in crude grappling hooks. Just another bully in the quarter, thought Kythian, smiling amidst the chaos. Alexo, the youngest among them, cast his rope over the Titan's thick forearm, and the hook sank into pallid flesh. The others followed his lead, and when the Titan broke free of Kythian's hold, the irregulars yanked on their ropes. The Titan wobbled off balance. Enraged, it whirled its flail around its head, clearly eager to be rid of such annoyances. Every action has a response. The idea filled Kythian's mind. Every action has a tipping point that, if recognized, can be harnessed as magic to gain control of a fight. He saw his opening. As the black iron flail orbited the Titan's head, Kythian drew on hieromantic magic to conjure an ethereal wedge of energy that struck the Titan on the inside of its elbow, so that its arm folded at the joint. The momentum in the head of the flail sent it arcing over the Titan's shoulder, striking it in the back. It crumpled to its knees, rearing its head up to bellow in agony and anger. That was all Kythian needed. He leapt partway up one of the pillars, only to turn and launch himself at the Titan, spear in hand. Sunlight caught the tip of the spear, blinding the Titan during his approach, until he sunk the spear deep into his chest, parting the masks of the returned. Dark blood welled up around the spear, and the Titan took one more shuddering breath before collapsing to the dust. Kythian rolled off the fallen Titan. The ordeal is done, he thought. Heliod's task is fulfilled. Akros is safe. He reclaimed his spear and turned to the irregulars. Here they were, a bunch of kids from the foreigners' quarter. Together, they had broken the stranglehold of crime lords in the quarter, defended Akros from hordes of ravening monsters, and destroyed a titan in service of a god on behalf of another god. They were his comrades, his family, and his terms for accepting the sun god's ordeal. Alone, he was strong and skilled, but together with his irregulars, what were the squabbles of gods? In his peripheral vision, Kytheon saw the horizon move. When he looked, he saw two wisps of smoke rising into the sky, their source a pair of dark eyes. Erebus, god of the dead, loomed over the landscape, a witness to the defeat of his servant. Inky, black vapor rose from the god's dark eyes that were set in his motionless face. Kytheon drew his spear back. He was the champion of Heliod, the sun god. If Erebos was the cause of all this trouble, then he would have to answer for it. Kytheon let the spear fly. He felt its power as he let it loose, and the spear sailed through the air toward the god of the dead. Emotionless, Erebus gave a simple flick of an emaciated wrist. From the horizon, his whip unfurled, appearing to take on a life of its own. When it met the champion spear in flight, Erebus flicked his wrist a second time. The whip cracked, deflecting the spear back towards Kytheon at blinding speed. Kytheon stood defiantly against the counterattack, and the irregulars fell in around him. Striations of light flickered to life on his skin, and he summoned all the magic and strength that he could as he watched the tip of the weapon close in. When the spear slammed against him, it exploded in a flash of intense light that washed over Kytheon, turning everything white. The light lingered for a while, and when it died down, it took a moment for Kytheon's eyes to adjust. His ears rang. He found it difficult to focus. Color slowly seeped back into his surroundings. He looked down, inspecting where the spear made contact. No damage. But he noticed flecks of red. He moved a hand to wipe them, and he saw that the back of it was splattered red too. Both hands were. But it wasn't his blood. No! He whirled around, and his eyes passed over 4 lifeless bodies. No! The ground heaved, and Kytheon struggled to keep his footing. He staggered among his fallen irregulars, mouth agape. His thoughts turned to the spear, thrown by his own hand. With clenched fists, Kytheon began to shake. His magic exploded to life once more, and bands of light moved faster and faster over his body. His skin threw off arcs of light that rippled from him with increasing intensity, and the sky above him spun. As white light continued to pour off of him, the landscape around him began to shift, bend, and stretch. From it, rolling plains emerged, and the twilight sky gave way to a vibrant blue. Nothing made sense anymore. It felt like the whole world was coming to an end. Eyes red and face twisted in anguish, Kytheon tilted his gaze skyward, where a brilliant sun shone. He closed his eyes and knelt there, unable to will himself from that spot. Time passed. Kytheon had no way to gauge how much. A continuous, dull ache numbed his insides. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. I'm being watched, he thought. Erebus? Heliod? Fine, let them. Then he felt a blast of warm air, accompanied by a low, rumbling growl. His eyes flew open, and an enormous, shadowy mass silhouetted against the sun filled his vision. A face. His pupils adjusted to the light. A lion's face. Kytheon stumbled backward at the revelation, throwing his arms up defensively. The lion made no movement, and after a moment, Kytheon lowered his arms. He saw that the lion was barded like a war horse, and atop a saddle sat a rider encased in armor like none Kytheon had ever seen. It covered the rider from head to toe, and where it caught the sun, it gave off a brilliant gleam. Though his throat was dry, Kytheon managed to push words out of his mouth. "Where am I? Who are you?"
"I am Makur, captain of the Knights of the Pilgrim's Road. You are lost in the Bant nation of Valoron. You are unwell."
As the knight spoke, Kytheon noticed she was not alone. A handful of other knights had formed up behind their captain.
"What is your name, wanderer?"
Kytheon.
"Gideon?"
Before he could correct the knight, Kytheon was overcome by a wave of serenity that suddenly welled up inside of him. His eyes were drawn skyward. Beyond the knights, he saw a woman descending from the air, held aloft on 2 wings of white feathers. There was a sense of nobility about her that was calming and inspiring all at once. She came to hover before him, an angel clad in plate armor like the knights. In that moment, Kytheon knew that he had left Theros, his home, behind. His irregulars were gone, a pain he brought with him. His ordeal had only begun. We have come to that point in the video where I want to thank you for watching. This series has been incredibly fun to record and produce, and we are very excited for Liliana's origin story next month. This weekend is the Throne of Eldraine pre-release, which means that next month will be jam-packed with extra videos. We will be unboxing a set of Throne of Eldraine, and I will be emphasizing combos and incredible deck tech that this set has. We will also be doing an art breakdown on the new alternate art cards within the set. That, and our first 2 lore breakdown videos. Chandra is still coming, I'm in the recording stage now, and Gideon will be coming next. We will also be doing an amazing series on the challenging subject of challenging the subsect of Christianity that believes that Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons are cultic and demonic. These videos will be more video essay style, but will have a lot of interesting information in them. Finally, we are proud to announce that we will be doing videos with our faces in them. We have been working tirelessly on a backdrop for these videos, and will hopefully have that completed by mid-month next month. With all of that coming down the pipeline, and our initial goal of 50 subscribers by the end of the year closing in really fast, I hope that you will subscribe so you can see it all happen. I have a 50 subscriber celebration video planned. I know it's a small number, but to me it matters because I never expected this channel to take off. And if you like this video, then leave a like and tell us what you thought. We are always open to criticism and would love to hear what you thought about our videos. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, seek on.